Hi everybody, well, it's time for my Call of Duty Vanguard. Why was it so bad? And why Modern Warfare 2 2022 could be so great video. Now, you might not know it if you've joined the channel recently, but I am a massive Call of Duty fan. In fact, Call of Duty is why this channel exists. If you go back to 4,000 videos ago, you'll see that the first videos were all Call of Duty videos, because that's how I got back into video games, when my son gave me his Xbox 360 and I started playing Call of Duty campaigns. And I really think that a good Call of Duty is always a great video game. And I think COD should be recognised as, a big reason why video games have reached the stature that they have, up there with the biggest of Hollywood movies. And I think when we have a great Call of Duty, that lifts the whole of the video game community. And similarly, when we get bad Call of Duties, that damages video games as well. So, what's my recent history with Call of Duty? Well, I kind of came back to video gaming after a massive gap from early PS2. So my son gave me his Xbox 360 and I started off with Advanced Warfare, which I actually quite liked. Then we had Black Ops 3, which I played for a bit on the Xbox 360. Then I got a PlayStation for myself, and Black Ops 3, fantastic Call of Duty. Then we had the disaster of Infinite Warfare, which I absolutely hated. And I think, did we have COD World War 2 next? Can't quite remember, but I enjoyed that. I thought it had a really good campaign. Multiplayer maps were a bit small. Black Ops 4, incomplete, but it was okay. And then we had Modern Warfare 2019, which for me I thought was an absolutely superb Call of Duty. Really invigorated the franchise. And then we had Cold War, which I really enjoyed. In fact, after playing Cold War for about 8 months, I would have probably said actually the multiplayer was more fun than Modern Warfare 2019's multiplayer, mainly because of the audio. And now, what have we had? Well, this year and the sort of first bit of the end bit of last year was Call of Duty Vanguard, which it should have ticked all the right boxes, because it was World War II, and remember, this is where Call of Duty started, World War II. So it's boots on the ground. It had zombies, and I think the zombies were done by Treyarch as well. But it kind of failed, and why was that? Why do I think that? Well, if we take zombies to start off with, now I'm not really a big zombie player, I don't play it very much, so can't really comment on it, but the feedback I got from people who do is that there just wasn't enough content in it. The campaign, and I'm a big fan of Call of Duty campaigns. I think a good Call of Duty campaign, like Black Ops 1's campaign, Modern Warfare, most of the Modern Warfare campaigns, Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, the original ones was really, really good. But the campaign for Vanguard, it was all a bit woke, wasn't it? It was like it was trying to make a point all the time. And I think most of the characters, well, I think all of the characters in it weren't particularly likeable at all. There wasn't really a hero, or even a decent anti-hero. And there wasn't really that many great World War II set pieces as well, in the way that, that's what you want from a Call of Duty. You want that Khe-Sanh level from Black Ops 1. You want all gillied up. Those iconic level. There just wasn't one. And I felt that the campaign actually for COD World War II was so much better, where they followed, admittedly, a fictional squad of soldiers, but they followed them through a campaign from Normandy right through to crossing the Rhine. And I think I would have much preferred it if with Vanguard we carried on with the story of those soldiers as they were fighting their way into Germany, or maybe if we'd gone to the Pacific. Where with this one you had this, what should have been a fun campaign, because it was a silly idea. It was the idea you brought together these soldiers from different parts of basically the enemies of the Axis powers. So you've got an Australian, you've got a Russian, you've got a Brit, you've got, was there an American? I think, and you've brought them together to form this special band of super soldiers who were then sent on these missions. So that's a silly idea to start off with. So if you've got a silly idea, then I think you've really got to go with that and make it fun, and have these big set pieces. But it was always trying to make a point about something, which I felt wasn't that great. But the big thing, what Call of Duty lives and dies by is the multiplayer, isn't it? And playing those initial alphas and betas when we were playing King of the Hill, or it was called, the special mode, the gunplay was good. I felt. And, you know, even playing it now, the gunplay is good. I think there's too many attachments. I think it's pick 10, isn't it? And there's too many perks that you can attach to the guns, so they kind of make it a little bit too complicated. But the weapons felt solid, but with enough vibration and recoil to make them feel like World War II guns. You know, they're a bit janky, especially if you compare them to the Cold War guns of Black Ops Cold War that we had the year before. The movement it's a bit fast, and the time to kill is a bit fast, and the footsteps are a little bit quiet compared to Cold War, but it was very workable. You know, those first few games you're playing, you think, okay, it looks okay, the guns feel okay, the movement's a bit fast, but it's definitely workable. However, kind of where they got it wrong for me anyway was you had this. Maybe I'm making too much of a big thing about this, but the fact that there was no bad character, no baddies. You know, you could only play as allies. There was no classes to set you up as an Axis power. Now, I'm not saying, you know, they should have had, you know, allies and then you play as the Wehrmacht, but at least there should have been Axis classes that you set up with the German guns if you wanted to. That's the way they did it in Call of Duty World War II. And as far as I can remember, every single Call of Duty multiplayer, you've always had two different sides, and if they've had them, and or a mix anyway, and then if there are baddies and goodies, you know, you can choose which one you want to be. And again, it felt a little bit woke, the fact that they wouldn't let you everybody was playing as the goodies all of the time until you got the kill cams at the end of the game, and then mysteriously these Germans would appear. So I think they should have really gone with classes like in World War II with customisable cosmetics. Or I think if you do go with these hero characters, maybe go with the ideas from like Black Ops 4 and Black Ops 3, not having special weapons and things like that, but just have a bit of fun with it, you know, lean into it. Because again, I can't really think of any of the characters when you go through the character select screen that are particularly likeable. They're all arseholes, to be honest, aren't they? You know, and not likeable arseholes like some of the ones from Cold War or any other Call of Duty as well. But the big thing, the biggest thing they got wrong with Vanguard, in my opinion, was the fiasco that was tactical pacing. So this was the idea that you could choose to either play like 6v6, 10v10, 16v16, or in between different numbers of players on different maps, and you could then choose what you wanted to do. But the problem with this is, most of the time, you'd end up playing with the wrong number of players on the wrong type of map. So you'd be playing on a small map, like the hotel map, where it should have just been 6 versus 6, and it would be 10 versus 10, and it would be absolute chaos. And it was a real shame. Well, you'd be playing on the map in the Pacific, where you've got the beach on one side and you've got the ship in the middle. And instead of being 14 versus 14, which that map could support, it would be 6v6 or 7v7, so everybody would be spread out, so you'd be hunting to find people. And it was a real shame. It was almost like they couldn't decide what was the good number of people to play on a particular map. And I think it's indicative of a situation where you don't have an artistic lead, or the lead developer says, no, this map is a 6v6 map. You don't have to have always 6v6 in Call of Duty maps. You can have 10v10, you know, or even more, 14 versus 14 if you wanted to, on the bigger maps. But it should always be 14 versus 14 on those bigger maps, or 10 versus 10, or 6 versus 6 on the other ones, or 4 versus 4, for example, on shipment, and you stick with that every time you get on that map. And that's what really spoiled it for me, because it removed a lot of the tactics away from the smaller maps, because it was just chaos. And then on the bigger maps, they were too empty. So, you know, that was the big thing that ruined it for me, tactical pacing. And I hoped, he says, touching wood, they don't put that in Modern Warfare 2 2022. I mean, to be honest, I haven't really played that much of Vanguard after the first season, but the new maps, they all seem to be a bit naff, you know. They're not really good enough. And I think where they really jumped the shark with Vanguard was the cosmetics and the guns. You know, this is meant to be World War II, and I always think you should have a little bit of respect for the era that you're playing on. I mean, they do have their charity, don't they, where they give money to veterans to get them back into work. And I think you do have to respect the era. You know, this is a World War II game. We don't want unicorns in it. You know, I mean, we can have ladies running around. Fair enough, if that's what we want to do, that's fine. But you do have to have a little bit of respect for the era. Obviously, crossplay. I'm a big opponent of crossplay. I do not think console players should be playing against PC players, because you're just throwing the console players in with potential PC cheaters. Should not be. You know, crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox, happy days. PC players, they should play by themselves, because they have the advantage of higher FPS, they have wider screens, so they have bigger FOVs, and God knows what cheats that they could be running as well. So definitely turn off crossplay. I know that's not particular just to Vanguard, but kind of related to that as well. You also had the fact that the Vanguard influence on Warzone was, you know, Verdansk went and we got Caldera, and who would have thought, you know, the best, is that really the right word, one of the most successful battle royales, which was Warzone Verdansk, was completely ruined with Caldera, because it just didn't run well on console. Just didn't run. And even on next-gen consoles like my Xbox Series S, Caldera run rubbish, and you would get all this pop-in of the palm trees. You know, just too much detail on the map, and it was absolutely awful. I remember, I just couldn't believe it. I thought, why on earth? Who tested this game? Who tested Caldera on an OG Xbox or a PlayStation 4, OG Xbox One, sorry, a PlayStation 4, and went, oh yeah, this is going to be alright? When you had these hundreds of millions of people, tens of millions of people wanting to play Warzone, who enjoyed Verdansk and enjoyed running around and probably spent a lot of money on cosmetics and season passes, and then you had this terrible situation at Caldera. You know, and you can't just blame it on the fact that it was running on the 2019 Modern Warfare engine. You can't, because Verdansk was fine. Like, it had its shortcomings, specifically to do with audio. That's the problem with the Warzone engine and the Modern Warfare 2019 engine. But Verdansk ran fine, and it was a great experience. With Caldera, I just can't imagine the playtesting that was done, where people went, look, excuse me, this isn't as fun as Verdansk. And I just don't understand why they didn't just bring Verdansk back. You know, after a few weeks, when people go, this is terrible, they said, okay, we're still going to keep Caldera, maybe just keep it as squads. Here's Verdansk again, fill your boots, get into there. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. So, multiple reasons why Vanguard failed. Tactical pacing was a really big one for me. And the fact that, you know, they ruined Warzone as well. So, coming up next, we've got Modern Warfare 2 2022. So in the background of this video, it's Modern Warfare 1 2019. And this should be the next Call of Duty for the next couple of years, because Activision have said, right, Call of Duty is stopping during the yearly cycle. Also, we've got the Xbox, or the Microsoft takeover of Activision as well, so perhaps by the time the next COD is due to come out in November 2023, COD will be an Xbox title, so we'll have to see about that. And I guess what I'm hoping for is, I just want an okay campaign. You know, something like the Modern Warfare 2019 campaign is fine. Give me some good set piece levels, and the rest of it can be a bit meh, but just give me those. Now, if they take inspiration from the original Modern Warfare 2, then we should get some of the best Call of Duty campaigns levels ever. Honestly, I mean, Modern Warfare 1 gets a lot of focus because of things like All Gillied Up. But in my opinion, the sheer number of excellent levels in Modern Warfare 2 is much higher. And if you haven't already, you know, buy the remastered version of Modern Warfare 2 and play it. The campaign is fantastic. It's brilliant. It's probably one of the best Call of Duties ever. That, and probably, you know, Black Ops 1. Zombies, I don't think there's going to be zombies in Modern Warfare 2 2022. There'd probably be Spec Ops, but it's not really my bag anyway. But I'm not sure about that. I haven't really looked at any of the stuff. But as far as multiplayer goes, what I'm looking for are, I don't even need that many maps. Give me 9 maps to start off with. And, you know, we can have 6v6s, we can have 10v10s, but make sure they're fixed on that. Don't give me any of this pacing rubbish. Alright? I want to see more structured maps, but they don't need to be the 3-lane Treyarch specials, you know? We can go back to the way that the Modern Warfare 2019 maps were. I mean, there's nothing wrong with I think for the Cold War maps, But the Modern Warfare 2019 maps were a little bit more complicated, and I think that's fine. The gunplay from 2019, the engine will be fine, so nice and solid, less recoil than the Vanguard guns, better scopes, less attachments, that sort of stuff. And I really want to see the return of ground war, the big 32 versus 32 mode, because ground war, especially on the map like the farm ground map, that was absolutely amazing. That was more Battlefield than Battlefield, when you had tanks going into action, you had Harriers flying over top. That was really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to Ground War coming back. I'm looking for, more serious skins for the characters, more mil-sim skins. I'm looking for baddie characters as well. And for me, it's all about that Modern Warfare engine. So I want the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, updated obviously a little bit, and most importantly with 3D sound, because that's what Warzone doesn't have, that's what Modern Warfare 2019 doesn't have, 3D sound. So if someone's above you or below you, it's not obvious, you can't tell, where you can in Vanguard and you can in Black Ops Cold War. And what that means is it's a more tactical movement, it's slower than Vanguard, it's slower than Black Ops Cold War. You have noisier footsteps as well. It's more akin to something like Rainbow Six Siege, and I just love it. I just think it's more tactical and it's more fitting with the period, the Modern Warfare period. And hopefully this will feed into Warzone as well. Now I know the new Warzone won't be coming out straight away, and it's probably going to be coming out after Christmas, probably with Season 1. But we're going to get that new engine, and hopefully, we'll get Verdansk back or something like, or a fresh start, but not a tropical map, not a map full of palm trees that just ruin performance on consoles. So, am I excited for Modern Warfare 2 2022? Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to the alphas and betas, and if it looks and feels and plays like Modern Warfare 2019 but has 3D audio, I will be extremely happy. So there we go, that's enough from me. What do you think? Put your questions, comments down below, and I will of course see you again soon.